and he's praying. I'm gonna cry.
Oh, God.
I knew
Somebody
it.
get
I knew
this
it
nerd a
happened.
tissue. So even though you're going to fight for your country and you're coming back and treated like garbage, that does a lot. The mental strength of an individual, especially going down that road where you're expected to, go fisticuffs with another human being. And reveal. Absolutely.
I'm surprised, but not surprised.
Yeah. What's going on, Fire Team? Welcome back to Shift Fire, and today you are tuned into an episode called Ranked.
In this episode of Ranked, Cameron and I are going to give you our top 5 picks of our favorite war movies. So let's get into it.
I have 2020 on Netflix, The Outpost.
Oh man, it is shameful that I have not seen this movie.
You
Cameron.
haven't?
Why is
I
this your...
highly encourage you to watch it. I think it is very well done, and I'm not the only one who thinks that because it's 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. Like that means anything.
Yeah.
But it's fun to say.
Skeptical.
I rank war movies based on how much I cry like a little bitch.
Oh,
and this
yes.
one really got me.
That is definitely one of the parameters that I use for ranking my war movies, because I cry a lot, and I'm not ashamed to say it.
Izzy's cry. I don't cry that much. Ask my fiance, she hates it.
I cry a lot.
But anyways, this one features Bravo Troop 361 of CAV's 4th ID, and it is about the Battle of Kamdesh at Camp Keating, which was one of the bloodiest battles in Afghanistan in 2009. 2 Medal of Honor recipients came out of that battle. I think the movie is just really well done in the fact that there's a lot of war movies out there, but this one nails it on the head when it comes to camaraderie.
Okay.
It is one of the greatest things about the military that, only military people truly understand, I think. At least that type of camaraderie, and I think this movie really highlights it. Plus, it does a good job of the effects, and the ending scene really brought a tear to my eye because it really talks about mental health and PTSD, and hats off to everybody who worked on it. Plus, it's got some pretty big names in it, like Orlando Bloom's in it.
Yeah. All right, my number 5 just barely made the list, but it's a strong contender, I think, in its own right. The 1984 version of Red Dawn, not to be confused with the absolutely horrendous 2012 Red Dawn remake.
Absolutely. Just forget that one even came out.
Chris, I love you, but this was not your day. I'm sorry.
It was not your day.
So Red Dawn, 1984 war movie. It's a fictional what-if scenario. What if America, during the Cold War, got invaded by Russia and I think Cuba?
It's Cuba. The commies. What if the commies...
What if the commies invaded, baby? Colorado, of all places.
Of course, yeah.
Bunch of high school kids living their American dream, and then one day, parachutes start falling out of the sky. Classic airborne raid, too.
Airborne assault, classic textbook.
Yeah, and so these kids, they go from innocent kids in high school to American freedom fighters. It's very much like a commentary on like the horrors of war and how these kids are turned from innocent kids into bloodthirsty warriors who are just heartless killers.
All that hate's gonna burn you up, son. Keeps me warm.
Oh man,
that's an iconic. Yeah, dude, that's
Wolverines,
a great choice.
Powers Booth is in it. It's Patrick Swayze. It's Charlie Sheen. It's a bunch of great 80s icons. So it's a twofer for me because it's not just a war movie. It's a great 80s movie, and if you know me, you know I love the 80s, man.
Sure.
It's the greatest decade of all time. My number 4 pick is the 1995 Scottish epic, Braveheart.
William Wallace? The study of William Wallace?
Oh, this can't be William Wallace. I'm prettier than this man.
Well, William Wallace stands 7 feet tall.
Yes, and if he were here, we'd shoot lightning bolts out of his... Yes.
Classic. Why did you pick Braveheart?
When I first saw Braveheart, this was the movie that really brought home like the goriness of what a war movie could bring. And just an amazing story, well directed by Mel Gibson. The cry of "they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom."
There is over 100 on-screen deaths in this movie, like 183 or something like that. To be specific.
Yep.
Good choice. But pales in comparison to my pick. Let's fast forward through time a little bit to Vietnam, baby. 1979, Apocalypse Now.
Martin Sheen, we were going to get to Vietnam era.
Had to. In my opinion, one of the best Vietnam movies. The time period of that type of combat, the military didn't have the support at all that it does today, where, Vietnam soldiers are, coming back as enemies of the state rather than, heroes of war.
Public opinion is very tumultuous time politically.
Yeah, so even though you're going to fight for your country and you're coming back and treated like garbage, and, that does a lot on the mental strength of an individual, especially going down that road where you're expected to, go fisticuffs with another human being.
Yeah.
Not to mention Martin Sheen does a great job. He does a really good job. And there's like things about this movie that you hear and you're like, wait, seriously? Like, fun fact, Martin Sheen was absolutely trashed in real life, he was drunker than a skunk when they filmed the opening scene where he's in his hotel room and he punches the mirror and he starts bleeding. He actually starts bleeding.
Yeah.
And he's just so drunk he can't feel it.
Yeah.
And then also, it's one of the only movies that has a real on-screen death of like a giant cow.
Yeah, this ritual that they do.
Real on-screen cow. PETA would go crazy over that. Just Vietnam in a nutshell, and just one man's journey down the river to
The Heart of Darkness.
The Heart of Darkness. Inglourious Basterds.
Oh, so good, man. So
The Bastards. Lieutenant
good.
Aldo Rain, played by Brad Pitt. You have the alternate scenario of what if we actually got Hitler. He got in that movie.
That movie, yeah.
Absolutely. Great storyline. What, they're moving in before the air landing. Lieutenant Aldo Rains gets a ragtag team of
All Jewish
soldiers coming from different units.
Iconic performance by Christoph Waltz.
Oh, yeah, the SS...
SS officer.
Yeah.
That's a strong choice, but I think I got something that's going to give it a run for its money. Ladies and gentlemen, the 1989 Civil War epic Glory. The 54th Massachusetts Infantry Regiment.
Great movie.
All black infantry regiment. Civil War, brother battles brother. These guys get together. It's got Morgan Freeman. It's got Denzel Washington.
Killer cast.
Matthew Broderick as the commander of that unit. They have to come together. They are fighting for freedom. Such a well done movie, man. How these guys all come together, and in the end, you're just rooting for them. It does not end well for the regiment at the end of the movie when they storm and they take all those heavy casualties.
You are a fan of an arc.
Yes, a character, it has to have a journey. It's the change that they undergo from the beginning of the movie to the end. That's called the arc. And I'm not much of a writer, but I look for that and I know about that. And man, oh man, especially Denzel Washington's character. This was actually, I think, the first Oscar that he got, Best Supporting Actor.
Sure.
He's a bitter young guy. He's been a slave. He's escaped multiple times, but he has no reverence for anybody, no respect. And yet he comes to, at the end of the movie, not only to respect, but to love the people in his unit.
Sure.
And to give up his life for them. And that's pretty amazing. The Tears Will Flow down Hacksaw Ridge. 2016, also directed by Mel Gibson. He has a knack for those war movies. Andrew Garfield plays Desmond Doss, the only conscientious objector to ever win the Medal of Honor.
Sure. Great story.
Yeah,
amazing, unbelievable story.
Oh my gosh, yeah, amazing. And all the more so because it's a true story. It blows my mind. He couldn't do it, Seventh-day Adventist guy, couldn't pick up a weapon, but he wanted to serve his country.
Sure.
So he did it as a medic. In the movie, everybody's against him.
Absolutely,
They
man.
want to drum him out of the military and court-martial him, but he states his case and he turns people's hearts and minds around.
Sure.
Hugo Weaving plays his father, gives a great performance. I just have to say, like, my favorite part of the movie is when he's saving all these dudes and he's praying. I'm gonna cry.
Oh, God.
I knew
Somebody
it.
get
I knew
this
it happened.
nerd a tissue.
He's just saying, one more, Lord, please just give me one more. And he actually said that. They did an interview with him, and you could see at the end of the movie, just one more, just one more. And the Army says that he saved like a bunch more guys. He said he saved less. They even it out at about 75 people.
That's still amazing.
In this single engagement.
This one has a lot of personal connection, and it's absolutely because it stars Rangers.
Ooh.
But 2001,
Man.
Black Hawk Down.
Solid,
The
baby.
year is 1993. It is October. 3rd Platoon, Bravo Company, 3rd Ranger Battalion with Delta Force, 10th Mountain, 160th SOAR. The Battle of Mogadishu, right?
Yes.
This is one of the most violent, in-your-face representations of war, I think, is on the silver screen. I watch this movie every single year on the date. October 3rd,
kidding. Good
Black
for
Hawk Down
you.
is on the screen.
Oh.
Just because it gives you such an appreciation of what these men went through. There is a famous kind of 5K race that they do every year called the Mogadishu Mile, which was pretty much a last sprint to get all the guys pretty much to safety. It's just an amazing movie. Plus, it really shows the mental fortitude required to fight onto the Ranger objective, which is part of the Ranger Creed.
Yes.
And it's just an amazing representation of what Ranger Regiment is, even though it's back in 93 when they were technologically not as advanced as us, but the amount of grit that the soldiers displayed in that actual historical event, I think the actors did an amazing job. Fun fact, they actually went through like, I think a week or two with Ranger Regiment. They trained the actors up and put them through like a mini boot camp.
Yeah.
We're here, we've made it.
The moment is upon us. It's been a long journey.
It has been, and I think we're gonna do it a little bit differently. We're gonna reveal at the same time, because
Okay.
this is a big deal, people. And reveal. Save it! This is a perfect testament as to why this movie is the greatest war movie that has ever hit the screen.
In war, you get the best of humanity and you get the worst of humanity.
Sure.
And I think that this movie encapsulates that perfectly.
Amazing cast. I mean,
Steven Spielberg.
Everybody's in this movie.
Yes.
Tom Hanks, Vin Diesel.
Yeah, Barry Pepper. You got Tom Sizemore. You got a bunch of other greats all throughout the movie.
Yeah, Saving Private Ryan shows 2nd Ranger Battalion. That's why it's one of my favorites.
There you go.
I haven't got my.
They're all over the place.
Oh
man.
yeah, because we're the best. After the storming of the beach, Normandy, basically we've established a foothold. 2nd Ranger Battalion gets a mission from higher where there's 4 brothers. 3 of them are killed during the assault, and that the one remaining brother is behind the enemy lines. He jumped in with what, 101st, was it?
They jumped in the day before.
They jumped in, and they are tasked with going to rescue Private Ryan and send him home because his mother already has received 3 death notes. She most likely won't want 4, and very surprised that the military even did that.
So many people are dying. Obviously, we committed thousands of lives to this effort, to the invasion of Normandy, getting in, taking back land from the Germans. And yet, in the midst of all that, there's this very personal, very one-man mission kind of thing, where these guys go to send this guy home. So it's almost like a microcosm of what World War II was kind of all about. It was this fighting against this force that was kind of spreading, and everybody came together so that future generations wouldn't have to live under tyranny.
If you guys agree or disagree with our top picks for best war movies, please let us know in the comments section. We would love to hear which war movie makes your top 5 list. As always, like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, and Fireteam, we'll catch you on that next one.
Christopher Nolan, I'm sorry, we didn't get Dunkirk in there.
And another honorable mention, Fury.
The documentary They Shall Not Grow Old, you got 1917.
They just released All Quiet on the Western Front.